Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about diplomacy in Total War Warhammer 3. Diplomacy is a big thing in this game, and a lot of people undervalue it and hardly do any diplomacy on their own, rather waiting for the AI to come to them with diplomatic relation offers or whatnot. They also get diplomacy mixed up and don't understand what all the agreements mean and just overall don't understand it. Today, I'm going to be helping you guys, explaining what diplomacy is, how all those agreements work, and what you should be doing. This is turn 10 in a Tyrion campaign. Very hard, very hard. Doesn't really matter what campaign you're in, you're basically going to have all the same agreement options. So, diplomacy is down in our notifications bar. Over here you can hit 7 or you just hit this little hand with a scroll. This brings you to your diplomacy tab. It will show you a top-down view of the world map. Right now you can see that I know a little bit of where Uthwan is, and we can see that the Dread Fleet is over here. Alariel is expanding. We kind of know where places are. You can see more easily where everyone is in retrospect to you. When you click on a faction, it will zoom into where their capital is. So first of all, that map can kind of help you see like where threats are going to be, where alliances should be made, and where it'd be good to make them, and just stuff like that. So first of all, it shows you every faction that you know. It will show you them in alphabetical order by race. So I know a lot of High Elves, I know a couple Dark Elves, I know one Rogue Army, and one Vampire Coast faction. Now, to initiate diplomacy with a faction, you can either double left click on them or single left click on them and then go down to initiate diplomacy, which is the same button
Those who
as
speak the truth
it
are
was
always
to
welcome
go
here.
into the diplomacy bar. Now, there's several agreements that you can make.
Let your words be true.
There are non-aggression
And your
pacts,
time here,
trade agreements, military access, military defensive alliances, and military alliances, along with confederation. You can also choose to break non-aggression pacts, break trade agreements, and break all types of agreements that you have. You can also bribe people in diplomacy, making them like you even more, or just making them decide to make an agreement with you. You can declare war on people, you can trade settlements with people, lots of stuff you can do in here. The first most common one is a non-aggression pact. A non-aggression pact is pretty simple. Basically, it's saying that I won't attack you and you won't attack me, and we're agreeing to that. If you break a non-aggression pact by either declaring war on them or being pulled into a war from a military alliance, which I'll talk to you about later, then this reliability will go down. When your reliability goes down, most people don't see any statistical difference and therefore don't regard it as anything. However, when your reliability is low, other factions won't be likely to make agreements with you. So for example, if I make this non-aggression pact with Eltharion the Grim, and then 5 turns later I'm like, well, I kind of want to expand over there, and so I declare war on him, then reliability will go to very low, and probably no one will make a non-aggression pact with me for a while. Slowly the reliability goes back up as long as you're not doing anything wrong in your campaign, and you haven't done massive war crimes, basically. So a non-aggression pact, again, is saying, I won't attack you, you won't attack me. It's a very good thing to have with allies around you that you want to remain your allies, as having agreements will up your relations. Relations is pretty important. Basically, the friendlier other factions are to you, the less likely they are to attack you, and on top of that, the more likely they are to sign more agreements with you. So, for example, if I sign this trade agreement, or this non-aggression pact with Eltharion here, in 1 or 2 turns, he will probably want military access or even more treaties. Over here you can see there are numbers that span on the number line, and most of them will be from 100 to negative 100. Basically, if it's a positive number, they will sign that agreement with you, and if it's a negative number, they won't sign that agreement with you. So for example, if I ask him for military access, I can't even propose this offer, because he's like, no, I don't want that. But this non-aggression pact he does want, so if I propose this offer, he will accept it. As you can see, we signed an agreement with him. It will show you right here that you have treaties with another faction, and you can see that you have a non-aggression pact with them. All your treaties will be lined down eventually. When you have a treaty with someone, your relations go up, which means having one treaty will lead to further treaties, which will lead to further treaties. The second treaty that can be made is called the trade agreement. Trade agreements trade resources between one faction to another and collect money for both factions. I have another video about trade agreement that I will put at the end of this video. Go ahead and make sure to check that one out. Really helpful. Explains a lot about trade that I couldn't get done in this video. Pretty complicated. Really good stuff to understand. So, you can get a trade agreement. That's always good. As elves, when you sign a trade agreement, you get campaign visibility over other factions. So all the land that he owns, I'll gain visibility over that, which is great because then I can know about more factions and where my new allies are going to be. So off to the coast, there's Bolio and Leonka and the Fey Enchantress, and all of those guys from Batonia are going to be great allies. So getting a trade agreement is a good idea. Also, having that extra money would be good. So I'm going to propose this offer. Another thing you can do is you can see down here that they're saying that they're really liking this treaty right now. It's got a value rating of 2.6. As you remember, that non-aggression pact that I just made with Eltharion was of a 1. So this is like 2.5 times better. They're really wanting this trade agreement. You can always balance offers, which will make them pay you a little bit of money and reduce that diplomatic treaty to generally about 0.1, which is just enough to make them do that treaty. So I can propose this offer, they'll accept it, and now you can see over in my treasury that I have 3,600 gold now. Next up is military access. There's trespassing in Total War Warhammer 3, which is pretty simple. Basically, if you step on somebody else's lands without military access, their relations with you goes down. And for every turn that you spend trespassing, with every army that you spend trespassing, it'll go down more and more and more. So military access lets you get around to places much more easily without taking that diplomatic penalty from trespassing. I can balance this offer, but that seems to be quite a bit of money, so I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just wanting to explain this to you. But removes diplomatic penalties for trespassing on another person's territory, and vice versa. Eltharion could march up through my lands with an army, and it doesn't matter, because he's got military access with me, and he won't invoke diplomatic penalties. You can also always threaten a faction, which is basically saying, I'm going to go to war with you if you say no. However, if they do say no, then your reliability goes down to very low, because threatening is not a nice thing to do. The fourth type of diplomatic agreement that you can have is a defensive alliance. Defensive alliance is pretty simple. You will defend the other faction if somebody declares war on them. So, for example, the Dread Fleet is right on my doorstep. Let's say they declare war on me in the next couple of turns. Eltharion, if I had a defensive alliance with him, would join that war and then come and reinforce me with his armies. A military alliance is very similar. It has all the perks of a defensive alliance, where if somebody declares war on me or declares war on him, that the other faction will join that war. However, a military alliance will also bring you into war if they declare war. So, for example, if I declared war on the Dread Fleet because I wanted to get the jump on them and attack them before they got too powerful or when they were weak because there's no armies down there, then Eltharion would also join that war. You always have the option to decline joining a war. However, that will break the military alliance and lower your reliability slightly. The final thing is a confederation. A confederation is a demand, not an offer. And pretty much the idea is saying, I'm a stronger faction than you, and I can help you out both militaristically and economically, so you should join my faction. If another faction joins your confederation, you will take a 5-turn debuff of -40 relations with all members of your race and -4 control for all provinces. However, let's say I did confederate Eltharion, I would gain all 5 of his settlements and all of his armies, where they are and how they are. Next couple of things that you can do, you can ask people to break trade agreements or non-aggression pacts. Again, saying, I want you to break these trade agreements. For the most part, people don't want to break their agreements because generally, again, that will decrease their reliability, which is quite a big thing in diplomacy. You can also declare war on them in the diplomacy bar and trade settlements. So I could say, hey, I've got this settlement, you've got this settlement, let's give them to each other. Or you can always just sell a settlement for a lot of money, or to persuade somebody to get a whole bunch of agreements with you. That's pretty much it to diplomacy. You can see that some people won't like you, and other people will. And, of course, other people will just be neutral to you. The one last thing that I would like to point out is there is an aversion with most other factions from different races. So, an aversion is basically they don't like you because in the past your two races have always been enemies. If you look over at the relations with this guy, I've only got -15 due to treaties with Averlorn and gifts given to Elarion. However, there's a -100 relations penalty because of aversion. Again, that aversion is just them not liking me because in the past we've had really bad relations with Dark Elves, and we are sworn enemies pretty much. Not everyone has a -100 aversion, but generally they will have a huge aversion to you. Things like Lizardmen, which are to the south down in Lustria, they'll have a big aversion to High Elves. The Dread Fleet should have some aversion. See, it's just 10. Oh, that's 10 to the Scourge of Cain.
Mistress of the Undying Forest.
Let's go look at them. They've got an aversion of 40 with me, so they don't like me, and that's alright, because we're probably gonna declare war on them. Basically, that aversion is always going to be there. There's nothing you can do to counteract or eliminate the aversion besides maybe offering them gifts, which will make them happy, signing agreements with them somehow, or joining war with their enemies. They'll always like that. And then one final thing to say is that when you are nice to your allies, generally their allies will like you, and when you are mean to somebody else's allies, they won't like you. So, for example, Scourge of Cain is at war with Averlorn. So if I were to declare war on Averlorn, the Scourge of Cain would start to like me. They're like, hey, we're both at war with the same guys. That's pretty cool. But if I joined war against the Scourge of Cain, then Averlorn would start to like me a lot more. And as I progressed and made military actions against them, such as claiming their settlements, beating them in battle, raiding on their territory, etc., then Averlorn's relations with me would increase more and more and more. That's pretty much all there is. Last final thing is you can always go into a quick deal,
Guardian of the Phoenix
and this
Crown.
will sort every faction by deal chance, and this can just let you go in and basically sign a whole bunch of agreements really fast, because you'll know who wants the agreements.
Queen of Avalon. All are welcome in my court. The time is now.
So, as you can see, I just signed 5 agreements in no time. And now I'm friends with a lot of high elves around me, which is really nice, and I can move on with this campaign with now a new defensive alliance, some trade with Eltharion, and that just helps people be happy with me and helps my economy quite a bit. As you can see now, I'm gaining 700 gold from trade, which boosted my economy quite a bit since it was just at about 240 before I showed you all that diplomacy. And that's it for this one, guys. Again, go check out that How Does Trade Work video. Really important stuff in there that'll help you understand how you should be making trade agreements and who you should be making trade agreements. I hope that you guys are having a great day and that this helped you guys understand how diplomacy worked in Total War Warhammer 3.